Milwaukee,
Okay.
which is Algonquin for the good land. You know, when we did that movie, Michael said, we got there, I'm just supposed to do Feed My Frankenstein, right? This line.
Right.
And he says, you're an actor. He says, I got a little dialogue. Can you handle a little dialogue? I said, sure, no problem. He hands me like 5 pages of dialogue. And I go, when are we shooting this? And he goes, half an hour. So half of the stuff that I was saying, I was making up.
Right.
I was riffing on it.
Legend. Again, that whole scene is legend. I mean, everybody knows it.
Well, because everybody in the band sounded like a Jeopardy movie.
And of course, Pete Friesen has the one line.
Yes.
Right?
Why, yes, that was.
I won't need that, you guys. You can take that back. So anyway, what's it like being Alice Cooper?
I don't know. We just finished 220 cities.
Really?
Yeah. Nita
Wow.
Strauss and Ryan Roxy and Glenn
Sobel.
And the great thing about that is everybody in the band are best friends. And so
For a long time.
I surround myself with the best players. That's why I came today.
That's a quick story.
I don't want to put any pressure on you.
When I was in the band, it was still quite a family. And I remember one story, I'll tell it real quickly. Me and Eric Singer were arguing because I'm the new guy in the band, and I wanted to make sure that the guillotine had come out to the center of the stage where people in the audience could see it. And me and Eric Singer are fighting backstage. I don't give a shit, I think should be out the front of the stage. And Eric, all of a sudden, the wardrobe door opens, and Al sticks his head in, and he goes, sounds like the old days.
Well, honestly, I don't mind, talking about a show if somebody has a good idea.
Yeah,
I go,
of course.
Great, let's do
Yeah.
it. You know that.
I know exactly when you don't want to hear it, you go, no.
Yeah, sometimes you don't think it through.
Right,
right. If that guillotine is on the left side, it doesn't block anybody out.
Right.
It
always came out from my side.
Yeah.
And that thing went right in front of me. It didn't matter to me, but the audience on that side was always like, oh, we get it in. So.
Well, guillotine. Anybody here ever use a guillotine? No?
So let's open the floor up to questions.
Raise the hand and I'll bring the mic over.
No math, okay? No math questions.
Okay, we got a gentleman right over here.
Okay.
You gotta talk loud, because I've been in the band for 60 years, okay?
Hi, Alice. Hi, Alice.
Hi, I can hear you.
Okay.
Really quick, these monitors are not on, I think. We're hearing it from back here. We're hearing what he's talking back here. I don't think these are on. Do they sound on?
I don't know. I haven't heard anything in years.
There's a real professional. The show must go on.
When I was 13, Alice, I bought a poster in Madison, Wisconsin. So what with the snake, you're wearing like a blue sequin top on it?
Yeah.
Okay. I hung that above my bed and I looked at it for years and years and years. You have a scar by your navel. Did you get attacked by a shark or stabbed?
That's a better story than what happened.
Okay.
See, I was saving these nuns that were going over a cliff from Hell's Angels, and knives. And I had a burst appendix when I was 12, and I have a scar from here to here because it burst, and I didn't feel it. So I filled up with peritonitis poisoning. They had tubes coming out. I was in the hospital 3 months with that, and I should have died, but God took care of me on that. And it was, I was so sick, I don't remember the 3 months in the hospital, But that's the scar. The knife fight from West Side Story, remember that? Yeah, that was good.
That's funny, Alice, that you mentioned nuns.
Yeah.
You remember the puppet, the hand puppet?
Yes.
We used to play cards in the back of the bus, and we had a rubber nun hand puppet that would, every once in a while, when somebody was losing, the puppet would just show its face.
Rubber.
Hi, Alice. Thanks for being here. And I have 2 questions for you. My name's Anthony. One is, what's your favorite Taylor Swift song?
I wouldn't be able to tell you a Taylor Swift song. I honestly think. I have nothing against her. She's actually a Hollywood Vampires fan.
Yeah.
So, you know, I mean, I'm not into that world. Yeah.
And another question, I was just thinking, when you start to become famous and a rock star, have you seen fame change people, and how do you deal with that? I mean, it must be incredible to see it.
What I've found is that the bigger they are, the nicer they are. The Beatles were the nicest people in the world. The Stones, same way. Sinatra was the nice. Elvis was. I should tell you the Elvis story.
There we go.
Okay, so
This is a
1970,
good one.
about 72, I get a call. I'm in Vegas, and I get a call. Elvis wants to meet you. Oh, yeah, you kidding? So I get there at the Hilton Hotel. He was at the top of the hotel, and there's Chubby Checker, and Liza
Liza
Minnelli,
Minnelli.
and myself, and Linda Lovelace. Three of us came down that night. One stayed. I don't know what Elvis and Chubby Checker did all night. No, anyways, we went up, and this is not fat, drugged out Elvis. This is Elvis. This was like
Skinny Elvis.
black leather
Yeah.
Elvis, you know. And he walks in and he goes, "Hey man, it's you the kid with the snake, right?" He said, "You're from Detroit and all the makeup and all that." I said, "Yeah." He said, "That's cool. I think that, man. That's great." And he says, "I want to show you something. Come on in here." So we go in the kitchen, just me and Elvis. He opens up the drawer and hands me a loaded 38. And he says, "Here, put this in your hand. I'm going to show you how to take a gun out of somebody's hand." Well, I'm Alice Cooper, you know. So a little devil pops up and says, "Shoot him." Got the gun right there. And the little angel pops up and says, "Yeah, but don't kill him, just wound him." By that time, the gun's out of my hand. It's over there. I'm on the floor. His boot is in my throat. That's great, Elvis. And then he says, "You want to see my most prized possession?" "Yeah." He said, "Well, come on in here." We go in the bedroom, he closes the door, and I went, "Wait a minute." Prized possession. This is your prized possession. And he goes, "No." He said, "I'll show you something." And he takes out an envelope about this big. And he says, "Let me tell you what happened." He said, "I come out of the show the other night." He says, "And 3 drunk cowboys want to fight me in the parking lot." And I called my boys up and I fought all 3 of these guys. Because he was black belt, you know. And he takes out and it's an X-rays. And he goes, "You see that? I broke the guy's collarbone right here." He says, and then the guy's ankle. He says, "I stepped on and broke his ankle." And I'm going, "This is your prized possession?" And then I realized what it was. This was his only contact with the outside world, was his fight. He couldn't go to a movie. He couldn't go to shopping. He couldn't go to a restaurant. He was a prisoner being Elvis. And if I write down, I never want to be this big. You know, it's the same thing with Michael Jackson. If I gave anybody in here the biggest mansion on the planet, and I said, "You can have anything you want, as much of as anything you want, but you can't leave the mansion," you'd find a way to kill yourself. You'll eat yourself to death. You'll drug yourself to death. There will be a way to, and look, Michael Jackson and Elvis both died in their 40s because they didn't have a life. They couldn't really function in this society, and that's so. It's really dangerous.
Yeah.
You be that big, you know.
Alice is great when he goes out because he puts a hat on and sunglasses. So even trying to, camouflage himself, the people, will always come up. And he's so gracious. He's always will sign an autograph. I don't think I've ever seen him not.
No, I signed everything. I signed everything.
I told him once in the back of the bus, I remember we were in Europe and the guy had your face on his arm.
Yeah.
And he kept yelling, "Alice, Alice, Alice, Alice." And I'm going, "What is this guy yelling at for?" And I go, "Come here, look at this, Alice. This guy's got like a whole discography of your face on his arm." I said, "The least you can do is just sign it." So I think you put your hand out the window and
Yeah.
actually signed his arm.
There's so much of me on people's skin. One guy came in and he was your size, took his shirt off, and his whole back was my picture.
Really?
And I said, "So the older you get, and the more wrinkled you get, the more wrinkled I get." And I said, "How long did that take?" And he said, "Oh, 2 months."
You know,
I don't want anybody dedicated to me that much.
we got a question over here.
Yes, hi. I'm a mom of two young campers over here who are probably.
Yes, eat the mic.
We are wondering if you have any advice for young musicians.
Yes, listen to the Beatles. Yeah, I'm not kidding. When it comes to writing songs, listen to the simplicity of the Beatles. I don't care if you're writing a death metal song. First, a song, first of all, isn't just a riff and a drum beat. A song is you should be able to sit down. I don't care who it is, and be able to play that melody and sing that song. If you could be the most angry person in the world. I've had young bands come to me and they go, "Well, what do you think?" And I say, "I get it. You're angry, because it's just yelling at me." I said, "Well, where's the song?" There's no song there. There's a great beat and there's a great riff, but there's no song. So I said, what I want you to do is listen to, for 1 week, listen to nothing but the Beach Boys,
Yeah.
the Beatles, and the Four Seasons. Just, any that wrote songs, or Burt Bacharach, that write songs, and then, I don't want you to sound like that, but I want you to get the idea of a verse, a B section, a bridge, going into the chorus, going back into the bridge, modulating, whatever. But it means it has to have a melody.
Right.
You can't just yell at me. And that's, it's fine if you do yell at me, but you're not going to stick around very long.
Right.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Songs, why are those songs still being played on the radio? Because the melody. We all want to hear the melodies.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, we have a group here from Alice has a school, a rock school, and his biggest charity, one of the big charities, is you have after school, right? After school program.
Yeah.
For the young men, we have a whole band here that we sponsored, Mark Marcy sponsored it. So that's Alice's question. What's your name?
I'm Charlotte.
Hi, Shona.
What was your favorite performance you did where?
In the United States? I'm from Detroit.
There
And
we go.
Detroit's the best rock and roll city.
You got that.
It's the
That-
home of hard rock. When we moved to Detroit, we lived in LA, and the Doors owned LA. And we were really good friends, the Doors, but we just didn't fit in. We were the bad vibe band, when everybody else was this, we were Switchblades and San Francisco, it was Grateful Dead and Jefferson Airplane. New York was the Rascals, and everybody. When we got to Detroit, it was Iggy, MC5, Ted Nugent, Susie Quattro. Every band was a hard rock band because the city was hard rock. And I'm from Detroit. I grew up in Phoenix, but I'm from Detroit. So when we got up and played with those guys, we fit right in. We were just like the next band we were a Detroit band.
Right.
Because they understood hard rock. You couldn't be Seals and Croft in Detroit.
It's right.
They would just.
Could you tell them the night you guys went to Zappa's place?
Yeah. Well, first of all, it was a Lenny Bruce's birthday party at this big club. And everybody was there. The Doors were playing, and Jefferson Airplane, and da-da-da-da-da-da. And we were on last. So everybody's on acid. And this is 1968. Everybody's, it's groovy, everything's groovy. And then we come on. And up lighting, and we looked like insane clowns. And the audience was like this. It was like springtime for Hitler, And we cleared that place in 3 songs. People were running for the Doors. They couldn't get out of and the guy, all the bands were going, "Oh, cool, this is
Yeah,
great."
right.
But, and when we used to play the big festivals, they would say, Grateful Dead in 1 hour. Jefferson Airplane in 3 hours. Warning, Alice Cooper in 5 hours. Don't take the brown acid. Because we were gonna freak everybody right out, you know. It was, but that was great. It was great being notorious. I loved being more notorious than famous.
The story I was talking about was your, I guess, Zappa signed.
Well, that has to do with it.
Yeah.
You know, Frank Zappa was going to have his own label. And it just so happened the GTOs were there. They were the only ones left.
Right.
After everybody,
Right.
you know, escaped from the place. And she came back and she says, Frank, I saw a band last night. They cleared 3,000 people in 2 songs. He says, have them come over. 7 o'clock. So we got there at 7 in the morning to the log cabin where he lived. And we started playing and everything, and he comes down with his coffee and he goes, what are you doing? He said 7. You know, he said 7 tonight. So we listened to us play and he goes, I don't get it. I said, what do you mean? He says, I don't get it. I don't get what you're doing musically. It's weird. It's the weirdest thing I've ever heard. And I said, well, is that good or bad? And he goes, I'm Frank Zappa and I don't get it. Of course I'm going to sing. You know? And it really was, you know, if you listen to the Pretties for You album, it's way out there. It's way out there. And it was what Frank was kind of looking for, the outrageous. And we were Alice Cooper, and we had hair down to here, you know. And so it was outrageous on every level. He never saw us as being any commercial success at all. Until Bob Ezrin came in. Bob Ezrin came in, and then we did Love It to Death and Killer and Schools Out. And, you know, he was our George Martin.
Right.
Yeah.
And came up with amazing keyboard parts, I might add.
Some of, yeah.
Some were
We couldn't find anybody to play those keyboard parts. Oh, wait.
I couldn't play. I'll never forget. We were in rehearsal here in Arizona at that speaker place, and Alice goes, "We're going to try My Stars," and I was going, "Oh no, that's not that. That's not." And we got through the song, and Alice goes, "I don't think we'll do it. I don't think we'll."
Well, Bob Ezrin played all that.
I know.
That was his
It was just one of the hardest things to play.
By the way, when you do get in the studio with your band, listen to your producer. You know, you might not agree with him, but you picked him as a producer for some reason. You know, maybe because you liked something else he produced. And then you just tell him, you say, you know that thing you did for these guys? Yeah, we want something like that. But don't just disregard the producer because he's not there for no reason. You know, he's there to really kind of take what you have and make it a piece, make it something that really works.
Right, and that goes for the counselors too. It's like, you know, listen to your counselor, because usually the counselor knows what he's talking or she's talking about.
Don't run with scissors.
Hey, over here.
Go ahead, run with scissors.
Hey, Alice, my name's Clifford, the big red dog, literally. Segueing into what you just talked about, producers, this is the first time I've ever dissected your music as a bass player. I'm curious, where did the bass lines come up with? Were they influenced by the bass player, the producer, the guy who wrote the song, or just, you know, the bass lines are incredible. They're like orchestral pieces. It's really fun to really dissect.
Well,
Where did the bass lines
I
come from?
couldn't hear him either. Yeah, for some reason we can't hear it.
Want me to get closer?
yeah. So bass player and producer.
Yeah, that's what we heard.
Just wondering where the bass lines
Oh.
your music came from. Was it the bass player?
Dennis Dunaway
Wow.
was the most unique bass player.
Yeah.
One of the best.
He was a lead bass player.
Yes, man.
And he was copied by a lot of players. A lot of the songs were based on his bass lines, and usually it's based on a chord progression or a lead guitar or some riff. Dennis wrote, I'd say, half of the stuff that we did started with Dennis's bass lines.
Really?
Some of it with Neil. You know, $1 Million Baby started with Neil's drums on that. And Mike wrote all the sort of the pop songs.
The early days, did you use click tracks in the early days?
No.
I don't think so.
We didn't know what a click track
That's
was.
the beauty of those old songs.
Yeah.
Is that they're wavering over you, they come back a little bit.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you know, if you wouldn't want to hear the Rolling Stones if they sounded like Queen.
Oh, yeah.
You know, Queen makes perfect records, and that's great. That's what they should do.
Yeah.
The Stones are in and out of time all the time. Same with the Who.
Yeah.
You know, the Who are and Keith Moon's the best drummer I ever heard in my life. You know, he was,
And you have stories about him too.
there's 100 stories about Keith Moon. I could tell you 100. Harry Nilsson could have told you 100. Everybody I know could tell you 100 Keith Moon stories. I come home one day, and my wife and I just got married. She was 18 years old. Didn't know anything about rock and roll. I opened the door, and there's Keith Moon in a full French maid's outfit. And he goes, I have cleaned the whole house. He says, and I have dusted. May I have the night off, please? And my wife goes, who is this? You know, what's he doing in our house? And it says, greatest drummer ever. I said, and he was the sweetest guy. But, you know, driving a limousine into a Holiday Inn pool just to watch it sing, that was a Tuesday for him. You know, I mean, every day was something where you went, what? He did what? And he was the sweetest guy. He'd come to your house and stay for 3 weeks.
You can't get away with that stuff nowadays.
No.
You try to do that nowadays, you're going to Rikers Island for 5 years.
He had a 20-foot long Rolls Royce, and he would go and rent a costume so he looked like the Queen of England, right? He had the top removed and he'd ride down, he had a throne put in the back. So he'd ride down Sunset Boulevard, hello, 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 and people that knew him went, oh yeah, that's Keith.
Keith's in town.
No, he was the best. He was the court jester of rock and roll.
Yeah.
Nobody will ever be as clinically insane as him. But yeah, the sweetest guy and the best drummer.
What's his name? Is good with that. Machine gun guitar.
Oh, Kane.
Kane is a funny guy.
Kane was great. Kane's the funniest person I ever worked with.
Yeah. Funny.
Hey, Alice.
Hey,
Cliff,
like your hat, by the way.
yes, I'm going to try to get you to sign it there. Cliff and I do a college radio show back in Maine, and we used to play a cover of Is It My Body by a band called Life, Sex, and Death. So I have a two-part question. Have you ever heard that version?
Yeah.
And do you have a favorite cover of an Alice Cooper song?
You know, there's a couple of really good ones. Roger Daltrey from The Who did No More Mr. Nice Guy. And he said, he said, I love this song. He says, it feels so natural. And I said, well, you should. It's Substitute. and basically, yeah, Ronnie James Dio did a really good version of Welcome to My Nightmare. He did it right. He made it creepy, but sang it great and everything like that.
Do you
So,
like the Life, Sex, and Death cover of Is It My Body? Do you like the Is It My Body cover by Life, Sex, and Death?
well, you know, I can't say better. I can just say I appreciate it all. I always love to hear my songs done by other people because they do a different take on it.
Yeah.
You know, I think one of the great things that I was at a Paul McCartney concert and they were backstage and they were warming up with Under My Wheels. And I went, Paul McCartney knows one of my songs. This is great.
One of the greatest rock and roll songs ever, as far as I'm concerned.
Alice, thank you so much for doing this. But I just wanted to know what the idea was for the teen clubs that you have in the area, and where did that idea come from?
You know, I watched a really awkward drug deal go down with two 16-year-old kids on a bike. And I went, how does that kid not know he might be the best guitar player in town? And the other kid might be the best drummer. Because they never had a chance to learn guitar or bass or drums. And I said, why don't we build a place, a teen center, but it's like a mini Juilliard, you know, and we're gonna make it free. Everything's free. So a kid can come in from the west side where he can't afford lessons. And he's getting the best lessons for free. All you have to do is show up.
Yeah.
It's a Christian nonprofit. You know.
And the great thing is, I worked at Jim Carter, and there's music being played everywhere in the building.
Yeah.
Even outside, they're sitting on the curb.
I call it the glorious mess, you know, because some of these kids are, you know, just starting to learn guitar. And that's great. I love that. And then right next is a bass player learning bass. And then there's a drummer over there. And then there's there's 20 of these rooms going on.
Yeah.
So I tell the kids, I said, once you get proficient, go find a bass player, find a drummer, I said, and we have a 72-track recording studio there
Yeah,
with engineers. So I said,
Can't
write
beat
the
it.
song.
yeah.
I said, play it, write it, go record it. And so, I mean, that's it. But it's also dance, it's also acting, it's whatever your talent is. We say, come in and find your talent. Our slogan on the shirt says, we care, we believe, cool.
You know, I gotta tell you, I worked there with Jim Carter, we did something I forget what it was for, but this kid came up, and I don't know if you know who he is, because apparently he hangs out there. He has one arm,
Yes.
you know,
I thought he might be here today.
unbelievable, this kid. And he doesn't use no triggers, nothing, but he just plays with one arm, and when he's done, he gets off the kit like, that was nothing.
Yeah.
And he
Kid's
walks off
amazing.
like, what did I just see?
Yeah.
What did I-"
We have a couple guitar players that I would put in my band.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, kids are like, what?
Yeah.
You know?
I blown away when I saw
Because
it.
certain people, they can pick up a guitar and just play it. Or they can sit at the piano and suddenly they just know how to play. Other kids struggle, but they keep going at it. I said,
Yeah.
just keep working at it.
Exactly.
And in the end, what it really does is it keeps them away from gangs,
That stuff, right?
drugs, and the whole thing that's on the street. I said, a gang is a band, except nobody's shooting at you.
Right.
Unless you're Motley Crue.
Sometimes those guys should be shot.
Come on, right here.
Okay.
Hey, Alice, thanks for doing
Come
this.
closer, will you, for Christ's sakes?
All right.
There you go.
How did your collaboration with Chris Angel come about? My wife wants to know if you're going to add more dates to that.
Yeah, we're going to be doing a thing with Chris Angel. The Alice Cooper show and Chris Angel show put together is going to be pretty insane.
Unbelievable.
Because if you've never seen Chris, he does things that I go, what?
Yeah.
That's impossible. And he's a rocker.
Yeah.
He's a total rocker. He used to be a big Alice Cooper fan, when he was a kid. He said, if I could just do that with magic. And he ended up being the best, So we are going to do some stuff together. It'll be a concert, a rock concert, but
You're only doing the
it will
3
have his
days?
stuff in it.
You're only doing the 3 days, 2 days?
No. We're gonna. Well, right now, because we're only gonna do 3 days.
Oh, okay.
But I can see this thing really
Yeah.
exploding. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
It's gonna be big.
Honor to meet you and be here. My question is, me and a couple of the guys live here in Arizona. Well, how did the concept with the plate come about?
with the what?
The license plate, your license plate?
It's since I've been here since high school and in college, and the band started in my high school at Cortez High. By the way, it's a tiny little school, and Ricky Lee Jones came out of there, the Tubes came out of there, and Alice Cooper came out of this little tiny high school.
Wow.
It was weird, but if you're a local celebrity like this, and I've stuck around for quite a long time, we get, as Solid Rock said, we applied for it. We said, what about Alice Cooper license plates? Because we get a percentage of that for the charity.
Sure.
And then we got lotto tickets.
No way.
I'm a lotto guy too. I scratch my face and things come out. And those things all happen. They just kind of happen. We have a really good people at Solid Rock that go for those things, and it's pretty cool, but it really all supports Solid Rock.
We have them, so.
Thank you.
Okay, everybody.
Everybody else?
Give it up, Alice. You're the legend, ladies and gentlemen. That guy right there. Let's go double stand. Come on, let's go double stand. Come on up.